So I hope you liked the intro showcase. Now this section of the video will discuss the builds used and the related gameplay mechanics. I have one build for the Siam along with two builds for Varuna. The primary and secondary slots are occupied by utility weapons. These are not absolutely necessary but they are still helpful, so their builds will also be shown. And if you want to check something specific, there should be timestamps available in the description. As seen in the showcase, the main DPS for this build is the Siam. The Siam is a one-handed Nikana which has a heavy attack gimmick where it releases a heat-based projectile which travels up to 70 meters. You can still do the regular Nikana heavy attack for forcing slash procs if you do a heavy attack while sliding. The heavy attack projectile has two properties which will be used here. The first property is the condition overload scaling of the projectile. The CO scaling here is multiplicative with base damage mods like pressure point. The second property is the infinite body punch through of the projectile along with a weird interaction where it climbs over any obstacles in its path. This build uses both of these properties in conjunction to snipe targets from afar. The second projectile often hits for billions of damage because of its high base damage value and because the wave itself is vertical, which makes landing headshots easier. The Siam build is a 12x heavy hybrid build. Blind Justice is my favorite Nikana stance. You can use some other stance as well. Sacrificial Steel and Blood Rush are present for crit scaling. Amalgam Organ Shatter for crit damage and heavy attack windup. Condition Overload is present along with base damage mods because of its multiplicative scaling with them. Primed Reach makes building up combo using light attacks way easier. Primed Fever Strike is the elemental mod chosen here because it is the highest elemental percentage mod for melees, and since it is toxin, it combines with the heat projectile to form gas. This is good because the massive direct hit damage of the projectile results in a highly potent gas cloud, which can tick for hundreds of millions in an AoE. Dispatch Overdrive is my preferred XLS mod because it can be activated by hits from the projectile. The Arcane is melee exposure for even more corrosive damage. Since this build will be casting abilities often, this Arcane will be easy to upkeep. Heavy attack efficiency and attack speed are outsourced from the frame itself. Varuna is the frame being used to bring out Siam's latent potential. She is probably my favorite melee focus frame because of the different buffs and utilities she brings to the table. Her playstyle is also very active and aggressive, which I find to be enjoyable. Since our builds will focus on a melee weapon for damage, her fourth ability, which is a good ability to DPS with, is replaced by a different ability via Helminth. I'll now discuss her abilities in brief and some tips for them, after which the builds will be shown. This frame has 4 different passives, each tied to a different ability. Out of these 4 passives, any one can be used at a given moment of time by holding its respective ability key. Her first passive is that she gets a 55% increase to her parkour velocity. This is extremely useful when going from point A to point B. Her second passive is that she gets 100% immunity to status effects. This also includes complete immunity to knockdowns. Her third passive provides her with plus 100% heavy attack efficiency. Traditionally, heavy attack efficiency is capped at 90%, so the remaining 10% from this bonus is only visible if you have negative heavy attack efficiency on your build. Her fourth passive provides her with an extra life. Once this passive is triggered, it goes on a cooldown. Since this ability is replaced in our builds, this passive cannot be used. Out of these 3 passives, I personally like swapping between the parkour velocity bonus and the heavy attack efficiency bonus depending on the situation. Varuna's first ability is basically a duration based stealth and movement speed bonus which deactivates upon performing an attack. While her stealth is active, she gets the following buffs to her melee weapon. The first buff is a plus 200% critical damage bonus which is a final additive. This bonus is modifiable by strength. And this bonus is also the reason why we are only running one critical damage mod on our melee weapon. The second buff is that the status and critical chance of our melee weapon is set to 100% if and only if these parameters are below 100%. This buff is unaffected by ability strength. The third buff is that every physical melee hit will force a slash proc. I specify physical melee hits because melee projectile hits like the Siam wave do not get this bonus. This forced slash buff is helpful to us as it allows our light attacks to proc a ton of slash, despite the slash weight being diluted by the toxin mod and the arcane. When this stealth breaks, these buffs will linger for 3 seconds and their duration can be extended by getting a melee kill during these 3 seconds. The stealth duration and the buff extension duration is affected by ability duration. Varuna pounces on a target and applies 10 stacks of any 5 random status effects. Upon killing this target, these 5 status procs are transferred to all targets within a radius. The pounce range and the spread radius is affected by ability range. This ability also has some weird interactions where it can transfer the dots inflicted by a weapon to surrounding targets, but it is kind of finicky to use and explaining it warrants a separate video. One interesting thing with this ability is that if you cast it while performing a wall latch, you won't physically jump on your target, but they will still get the status procs. This is useful with the Helminth ability Wrathful Advance to perform a combo using the Siam. Varuna's third ability is the backbone of her energy economy. She gains a 100% health orb drop chance on melee kills and a 100% energy orb drop chance on headshot kills. The Siam projectile can trigger both of these conditions at once. The duration of this ability is extended upon killing an enemy affected by 5 or more than 5 status effects. Both the base duration of the ability and the extension duration are affected by ability duration. In the first build, we replaced Varuna's fourth ability with Shooting Gallery from Mesa along with its augment Muzzle Flash. After getting 6 kills while Shooting Gallery is active, this augment will blind enemies in a radius. The duration of this ability and the range of the blinds are affected by ability duration and ability range respectively. I made this build when I was new to playing Varuna, and the blinds from Muzzle Flash helped in getting used to her playstyle. This is because unlike other traditional stealth frames like Loki or Ashe, Varuna's stealth breaks when attacking. In both the builds, energy economy is not an issue, hence the low ability efficiency. High range is to extend the range of the blinds from Muzzle Flash and the status spread from Varuna's second ability. Strength and duration stats make her first ability more effective. Rolling Guard is present for emergency iframes. Arcane Strike to buff the attack speed of her melee. This is not necessary if attack speed mods are already present on the weapon itself. Molt efficiency for more ability duration. It is relatively easy to upkeep because our invisibility allows us to regenerate shields. Even though the damage ceiling of this build is lower than the other build, it can still hit numbers in the hundreds of millions, plus it is easier to get used to. This is the Varuna build I've been using a ton recently, especially for game modes like Disruption. Here her fourth ability is replaced by a Wrathful Advance from Kullervo. This ability is primarily used for the critical chance bonus it provides. This bonus is a flat additive after mods and is affected by strength. It also has some movement utility via teleportation. Just remember that inverting the tap hold cast for Kullervo in settings will make this ability more streamlined to use. Since Varuna's first ability already provides a flat crit damage bonus, using Wrathful Advance for the flat crit chance bonus is a natural conclusion. Also, Wrathful Advance can be used to perform the Wall Latch combo, where you cast Varuna's second ability while wall latching, then teleport to the ground to get the critical chance bonus, and then heavy attack with the Siam on the primed enemy for huge damage numbers. Like the first build, we have 45% ability efficiency along with equilibrium to sustain our energy economy. Since our subsumed ability is more dependent on strength than range, this build trades off range for more strength. Rest of the stats and mods used are similar to the first build. Other Helminth abilities can be conventional damage buffers like Eclipse, Roar, or crowd control abilities like Silence or Breach Surge. These Varuna builds did not include a single Archon shard, since I felt that they were not necessary here. Hence the shards can be whatever you want to use. You might have noticed the lack of natural talent in the builds. This is because our chosen focus school is Madurai for improved casting speed and even more ability strength. You can go with Naramon to prevent combo loss, but I feel that heavy attacking with Varuna's passive is enough to reset combo duration with minimal combo loss. The secondary weapon is a generic Epitaph Primer build. The AoE will have Forced Cold, Innate Blast, and we will mod it for Radiation, Viral and Heat. The direct hit will also proc IPS on top of these. These statuses will provide a multiplicative damage bonus to the Siam projectile along with some light CC. This Arcane, secondary dexterity is essential for the extra combo duration. The primary weapon is a Latron Prime Incarnon. It was chosen due to its 4th evolution which allows for armor strip on puncture proc. This is the mod setup. Replace Piercing Hit with the Gold plus Puncture mod if you have it. The Arcane can be either primary dexterity for even more combo duration or primary obstruct for some CC. In the latter case, you will have to mod for Magnetic to trigger primary obstruct. This build is not dependent on the companion used, so go with whatever you like. I personally prefer a Hound with the Disarm and Priming Audits or a Panzer Wolfaphyla for the viral spread and the crit damage bonus using Tenacious Bond. Other companions which I recommend are either a Diriga Primer or a Nautilus Grouper, but as I said, any companion can be used here. For the fashion frame, I tried to go for the generic edgy black and red to match the feel of the song used in the showcase. I was initially inspired by Guts' Berserker armor from Berserk because the helmets look alike. The accessories have the same color scheme here. Honestly, I did not expect the overwhelming support I received on the Sobek Saren video, so thanks for that. Those comments are what motivated me to make this video. Do let me know if you prefer a voiceover like this or text like in the Saren video for the explanations. For the next Warframe showcase, I have ideas but it will take some time. Plus I want to further improve my editing. In any case, I'll see you whenever the next video drops.